This is the time, this is the place, and this is the intro you're used to hearing, isn't it? This is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And since anything can be geeky if you love it enough, you never know what you're gonna get. This is your host, IMC. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
This week we'll be talking about the blockbuster Avengers.
Who's the Three Stooges?
That's the blockbuster we're talking about. The Avengers Infinity War and what hurt the most. After that,
still broken.
Yep.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. After that, stick around for our upcoming events and our question of the week.
So there will be spoilers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you haven't seen the movie yet,
Spoilers.
pause us.
Yeah, if you have not seen Infinity War yet, this is not
Shame.
the podcast for you. Seriously, for starters, for shame, you should have listened to it already.
Watched
or
it.
seen it, watched it twice, 3 times. A lady. And then, but yeah, if you have not seen the movie yet and you do not want it to be spoiled, then hit stop right now and we won't be mad at you. And then come back after you've seen it and play us then. Sponsor shout-outs, let's jump right into it. Knox Craft Cocktails and Comfort Food, located in the Village Gate Mall. Selena's Mexican Restaurant, also in the Village Gate Mall. The Great Escape Room, the Sherlock Holmes-themed escape adventure over on University Avenue. And Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey, bringing us Caitlin Blackwood, the young Amelia Pond. Homegrown Pop Rock Comics over on East Avenue, Caffeine and Culture. Redfin Realty. And Arch Telecom, the providers of Sprint.
I have a quick question.
Yes, dear.
Billy, have you gotten to Pop Rock yet?
Yeah, I went in there a couple weeks ago on a Saturday. Stopped in, looked at some comics, looked at around the building. Decided that the cereal was too sugary.
Sugary for you?
Although it was my
Cheerios?
although it was my cheat day, I decided that
Not to go for the
that
Lucky
may have been,
Charms.
because I love Frosted Flakes. I
Oh,
love
me
Frosted
too.
Flakes.
Yeah,
Can
that's
I tell
a thing.
you, I got Fruit Loops yesterday at the store because I just haven't had Fruit Loops in a while, and I'm just like, that was jonesing for something.
And this is real. Is it weird that I've never liked milk on my cereal?
I'm the same
not
way.
Weird at all.
Did you
I
drink
am-
juice on it? Or did you just...
No, just dry.
Just dry? No, I had a student that was lactose intolerant, so
Dan and I are both dry cereal.
just munching on it?
Just munch on it. We lived together for a long time, and he used to have a box of Cheerios next to his bed. And I could hear him at the end of the hall at night. And he would be reading. You'd see the light underneath the doorway there, and you could just hear crunch, 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 crunch.
Regular honey nut.
I think he was more
probably
regular.
regular.
It was more regular. Yeah.
That was Monk when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like all babies usually like the Cheerios.
Oh, but she never liked any of the flavored ones. She only likes the plain Cheerios.
See?
I don't like the flavored Cheerios either.
Oh, I'm a big Honey Nut Cheerio.
So Billy, it's
I don't
not
like
strange at all that you like dry cereal.
Good.
So,
I mean-
who's in the studio today? Everybody sound off. We
Lot-
got Sherry, we got Chris, we got Sybil.
Hi.
She sounds so much better than on the phone.
I'm telling you, I love it. I love that she's here next to me right now. That's awesome. The monkey girl, Alana, is in, and well, her bruises and
Yeah,
boo-boos.
my arms.
Derby girl.
Look at this.
Look at that. Holy Christmas, child. Are you a blocker or are you the blocked?
Yes.
Yes.
they're believe it or not, they're teammates actually do this.
Your
to
teammates
each other.
are on them beating on you.
like
They might
we're
need a-
racing up against each other, and that's just what happens.
Oh, jeez.
You need more iron in your diet.
Yeah.
Or less roller derby.
Or yeah. Either way.
That's not likely to happen anytime
No,
soon.
not
At least
anytime
the
soon.
Derby one.
First game this weekend.
Yay!
Looking forward to it.
So, and then the Billy and the Tanya are next to me on the other side. So it's good to see everybody here today. Yeah, okay. That's okay. Chris, shut up, Chris. Keep talking. Keep,
We're happy to be here, though.
Yes, we
Chris,
are.
keep
I
to the
think we're
script, keep.
still just in awe from our...
yeah, the recording with Jen
From our
Bevan.
future, from our future
Yes.
podcast.
Yeah, from
Yes.
our. Which one is coming first?
This
This
one.
one.
This one's coming first?
Yes.
And then next week we'll be hanging out with Jen Bevan.
Yes.
Not
Okay.
Bevan.
Bevan.
Not even.
Bevan.
Bevan. A little
Okay.
piece of heaven.
A little.
So we recorded it first.
Yeah.
But yes, we're...
That's the magic of radio for you right
Yes.
there. So we did our sponsor shout-outs. Patreon.
What is Patreon?
Patreon, I'm so glad that you asked,
I
Tanya,
did.
is a membership platform that makes it easy for you to support Monkey Business and the Flower City Comic Con. Please check us out at www.patreon.com/FC3ROC. See that? I went with
See,
that?
yeah.
Okay. All membership levels will include access to a Patreon-only blog, plus tons of great perks at all levels, including early podcast, Twitch, and Flower City Comic-Con information. In addition, when we reach different levels, we will be posting information about our cast and crew and people of interest.
Simi?
Like Simi.
Simi?
I think, can we start talking about her now? Is that a
I
thing?
think we're going to be introducing her soon.
It's introducing. So if you're not sure who we're talking about at this point, we're talking about the new logo of the Mighty Monkey Corporation. And it's a she.
It is a she. She's so cute.
She is our Mighty Monkey.
She is adorable.
She
Big shout out to Candace.
Dead Time Stories?
Dead Time Story.
Story.
Yep.
All right. There's only one.
There's only
There's
one.
only one
There's going to be
Candace.
only one.
And so I got to tell you, it's so thrilling for me because I
This
remember
was your vision.
this. What I remember driving down. I was driving down the street. I had just gotten done with an inspection for the city, and I was moving on to my next appointment. And I was just thinking, I had a couple of ideas rolling around in my head, and suddenly it crystallized. I actually was so excited about it, I had to pull over.
And then you sent me a voicemail.
I
or
sent you a voice.
something, and
I sent you a
just
voice, and then I called Dan on the phone,
And I was.
and Simi was born. And then we were Sherry hooked us up with her friend Candace, who is amazing at graphic design.
Yes, she is.
And she took that vision and created the Mighty Monkey herself. So we're getting ready to share that with the world, and you will see Simi
in the
Ann.
program.
Simi Ann. It's her middle name.
Simi Ann.
Simi Ann Henseltail.
Henseltail.
And when she goes on her adventures, you're going to meet her. Her favorite go-to adult will be her grandma Pre Henseltail. So
Billy likes that.
yeah, so that's a thing.
Hansel?
Yeah,
Hansel.
Gretel. Anyway, but yeah, that's going to be a thing, and so we're looking forward to. She'll be showing up in the program for FC3, and she'll be showing
In a
up on
couple of different places.
different places. She'll be popping up online.
Saw her
and
in a couple of ads.
Twitch.
a couple of ads. She'll be showing up in Twitch. She'll be showing up on the Monkey
Podcast.
Business podcast. So yeah, she's going to start popping up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we have a vision for that, and that's going to be a thing. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to sharing that and seeing everybody's reaction to the little Mighty Monkey herself. Apple Podcasts. Want to help others find the show? Yes, please. We would love for you to help others find the show. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Please. I'll beg. So will Tanya. It'll be funnier when Tanya does it. This is the single easiest way to support the show and encourage others to listen. I'm still reading a script. Don't give me a weird look. Every review will be thanked on the air and questions will be answered. We want this to be a conversation, so please send us your questions. In addition to Apple Podcasts, you can now find us on Google Play Music and Stitcher and iHeartRadio. And is there a place you find your podcast but can't find FC3 Monkey Business? Let us know, and we will work to correct that. There's a phone ringing. It's the phone! Get the phone. Who is it?
It's our public relations specialist.
It's our public... Who is our public relations specialist this week?
This week?
Yeah.
Oh, she is going to smash you. The verse can withstand you from Sherry or Deanna.
Yeah, I know. Tell Deanna I said hello. Dee's calling in. So that's cool. So we're all here. We're all good. Yes, Chris?
Don't forget Spreaker.
I can't forget Spreaker, our main host. Thank you very much. I always seem to forget somebody when I'm going through the list of where our podcast is because the list is getting longer every month, which is so cool.
Tanya's allowed to give you dirty looks.
Oh, I know. She is. Everybody's allowed to give me dirty looks, whether I pay attention to them or not. It's another matter entirely. So we are going to take off for a second. When we come back, we are going to start doing a big spoilery review of
quick, go watch
Avengers
the movie.
Infinity War. So if you don't want any spoilers, now is a good time to pause and go watch the movie and then come back. I recommend in 3D because holy crap, that was awesome. And
You saw it in 3D?
I did see it in 3D. Yeah.
I see everything in 3D.
It's the sunglasses.
I see nothing in 3D.
I know you have like whole vertigo thing, Rick. You know?
No, it's an eye thing.
It's an eye thing.
Yeah, I have a weird type of astigmatism. I can't look out of both eyes at the same time.
I see dead people.
Oh, and
Yes,
there was a
thank you,
lot of
Billy.
those.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Yep. He was in the half.
Okay. Parents,
Okay, there we go.
for some reason, had no idea or no interest that there's no food in any of this. And it was great until the Cookie Crisp people came along and blew the lid off of the whole racket. It's always somebody pushes a good thing just a little too far. Cookie Crisp. If you don't know what this is a cereal. It's not like cookies. It is cookies. This is your breakfast.
I like Cookie Crisp.
A bowl of chocolate chip cookies. This cereal should have been called The Hell with Everything. Ice cream for lunch, cake for dinner, bacon and cigarettes in between. That's the Cookie Crisp Total Health Plan.
There it is.
I'm on it. With a side of scotch.
Have you ever had Cookie Crisp?
I don't like
Several boxes in my
They
day.
taste almost identical to Famous Amos cookies.
Yes.
I would say, aren't you a Lucky Charms person?
I am a Lucky Charms person. I will admit that freely and happily.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the best.
Cocoa Pebbles.
As the Avengers and their allies have continued to protect the world from threats too large for any one hero to handle, a new danger has emerged from the cosmic shadows. Thanos. Eek. A despot of intergalactic infamy. I love that sentence. That is phenomenal. His goal is to collect all 6 Infinity phones.
iPhones.
Is that a new product from Apple?
Yes.
The Infinity Stones. Artifacts of unimaginable power, and use them to inflict his twisted will on all reality. Everything the Avengers have fought for has led up to this moment. The fate of the Earth and existence itself has never been more uncertain.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. Anyway.
Oh, shoot, I forgot.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, we got you.
You gotta get... There it is.
I get chills.
This is like one of my favorite themes of all time now. It is so freaking cool.
This is the theme from the Jeffersons.
Yes, because that's even more iconic. To the east side.
The deluxe
To the
apartment.
deluxe apartment on the east side. Anyway,
Is it the top of Stark Tower?
maybe. Do you think the Jeffersons live in Stark Tower?
That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. And that's how he gets all of it. That's how Tony Stark gets all of his clothes cleaned, is through Jefferson's dry cleaners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all coming together.
Okay, you got to admit, you missed the monk.
I did miss the monk.
You missed the
What
monk.
What did I miss?
No, I'm saying you missed having her here.
I do miss the monk. I do miss the monk.
She's
Often.
been adding often.
Here's some trivia for you. Tom Holland was not allowed to read the script for this film since he revealed too many secrets for Spider-Man Homecoming.
Have you seen all the pictures where they're covering his mouth?
Yes.
3 out of the 5 that I've seen is always Benedict Cumberbatch. It's hysterical.
Yeah, not letting him what? Yeah.
So, like I said, the last time we talked about Infinity War in a previous podcast, we'll start from scratch, right from the beginning. The Marvel Cinematic Universe now has its version of Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Because and I think that's going to add a whole new level of depth to the MCU because of the fact that you have these it's 18 films before this? Has it been
This
7,
is the
18?
19th.
This is the 19th
film.
movie? Where our heroes, they win, they get their butts kicked, there are costs to that, but they always seem to kind of pull it out in the end. And now
They don't win.
they don't win.
I was going to say, I don't think they won this one.
They did not win this
In
time.
the other 18 movies, they do.
Yeah, in the other 18 movie, but now all of a sudden they got their asses kicked.
See, the way people are upset about this astonishes me, to be honest
It is.
with you.
It's kind of
because
weird.
the other ones were standalone stories. This is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Continued next issue.
Yes.
Oh, can I tell you, that was like the worst feeling when I have to wait until May of 2019.
Yeah.
That sucked.
You can. It's like, people, haven't you gotten used to be continued yet?
Yeah,
have
I
you
do,
not
but
seen
it
enough
still
2-part, a very special episode of Melrose Place? Have you not seen the to be continueds at this point? Come on, are you not used to it?
Doesn't mean we don't we like it.
Yeah, I know. But the rage that has popped up over this movie has been weird, in my opinion.
I think it was trying to figure out where they were going to cut it to see what was going to be where the to be continued was.
I mean, if you think about it, it depends on perspective. If you're a fan of Thanos, this was a happily ever after. He won. That was he's sitting there in the final scene. He's sitting in the little cabin. He's looking at the
that's the
countryside.
thing. And
He's got a big smile on his face.
This came up when we were talking about Black Panther. And the way I felt about Eric Killmonger is that every good villain is the hero of his own story.
Yeah.
And Thanos is definitely the hero of his story.
Well, I think that's one of the things that the MCU has done the best, is given the villains depth, character, motivation, and just a sense of being real people. That's why people fell in love with Tom Hiddleston's Loki in the first place. Is he was just a deep, juicy character. There was emotion to it. There was reason and plan and just to see.
You referred to Tom Hiddleston as juicy.
I'm actually,
I'm sorry, I couldn't get past that. I heard nothing else you said after that.
Here's the thing, and it was actually he's the one who put that word in my head about him because he was doing an interview early on when they were discussing the first appearance of Loki, and he went to Joss Whedon, who was directing Avengers, and he's like, I can't believe you've given me his part. It's so in-depth and so juicy. I can't wait to get into it. And so that word has now kind of gotten into my thought pattern for him. And it's sad and true, but it's the thing.
But the way they have given depth to
Yes.
the quote-unquote villain.
Right.
He has his reasons, and they're...
Whoops.
I'm not sure what Sherry's looking for.
The key fob.
Paper? Oh,
Key fob.
Key fob, I'm sorry.
Okay. Is it just me, or did Thanos look scarier in the other movies when you just get glimpses of him?
Yeah, there was a menace to him. And then he almost like a sympathetic character. But go ahead, Billy, you were saying.
I was just going to compare him in a way to the Witch in Wicked.
Okay.
I mean, you saw her side of the story.
true.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the play Wicked where everyone sings. I'm talking about the novel.
Okay.
Which, if you've never read it, I highly recommend it. Not to take things off kilter here, but every story has two sides.
Yeah.
Any good story.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a good story. And while you still don't agree with Thanos and he's not a hero by any means, he's got a point.
You understand what he's his motivation.
Yeah.
Gone are the days, not entirely because other movies will emulate this still, but gone are the days of the token villain who's just like wringing his hands going, I'm just going to blow up the world for the fun of it. And
He's got a reason for it.
He has a reason for it. And it's like Billy said, you can almost understand and appreciate what he's trying to achieve. You don't have to agree with his method, but you get it, and there's a thought pattern there.
I think that's something that the MCU has done very well. Is that with each? I mean, the earliest, like the early Iron Man ones and things like that, they didn't. I don't think they were as good, but they've gotten better.
Oh yeah,
really saying. Giving us villains that we can kind of relate to.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't
definitely.
think Thanos as much as the way I felt about Killmonger, but he still it wasn't just I'm going to just kill everybody. It wasn't. I hate to throw shade on DC, but he's not a Joker. He's not a Riddler. He's not.
Right.
This wasn't just an insane person. This is someone who thought he had a real reason for doing what he was doing. It was warped and wrong, but in his mind, it made perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It made, because of his world dying and people, whatever, because of all the food shortage and things like that. And
so why not just do it to the entire universe?
He was actually trying to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like.
And with the success of each world that he did that to and how they did thrive afterwards, that was proving his own point to himself.
It emboldened him,
And there was no it was random. It wasn't socio-economical. It wasn't based on race, religion. It was just
just exactly half. Yep. Exactly half the population. Doesn't care if they were old, they were young, they were rich, they were poor, didn't care.
Yep.
But strangely enough, the whole DC universe.
One of our previous podcast regulars, Wayne, posted a picture of Superman, and he's texting. And with one hand, he's texting with his phone, and the other hand, he's stopping the Infinity Gauntlet as Thanos is getting ready to punch Superman. So that there are some DC diehards that are like, no, Superman could have taken him. Well, the Justice League could have taken him.
Wasn't Thanos a rip? I'm not going to say a rip-off.
Suppose he's a rip-off of
version
Darkseid.
of Darkseid,
Yeah. There's definitely mirror characters in both universes. Flash and Quicksilver, etc. Green Arrow, and Hawkeye, stuff like that. So there's going to be mirror characters on both sides. I don't know enough about Darkseid, honestly, to comment other than people have said, yes, one's a ripoff of the other. Okay, I'm going to take your word for it. I know more about Thanos.
Just a book recommendation if you do like DC.
Okay.
The Legion of Superheroes, the Great Darkness Saga.
The Great Darkness Saga. Okay. I'm going to
Just
check
pick
that
it
out.
up on trade paperback.
Okay.
It'll give you a run of the Legion of Superheroes from the 80s. That is just a very good Darkseid story.
Gotcha. And you're a DC regular. You've been following Batman for a long time. Do you have more familiarity of that character that you can kind of lend some insight to that comparison?
They are very similar. They're
Okay.
just Darkseid doesn't want to kill half the universe. He wants to kill everybody.
Okay, he just wants to obliterate everything.
But the look is oddly similar.
Okay.
I mean, almost about as close as you're going to get.
I always thought that
can look
Darkseid
at-
and Apocalypse were more of a ringer for each other.
Yeah.
Well, and also the real Thanos in the comic books, he's just obsessed with death.
Yeah, and isn't
That's
there like an
what he
embodied?
wants
There's a
to
character that
court her or something.
Yeah.
It's like an
He's
actual
more
character.
obsessed with
Death is an actual character.
than with actually cleansing the world and making them better. His obsession is death. But you kind of can't make that a likable character
Right.
in a 2.5 hour span. You just can't do that, which is why
So they gave him a new motivation.
they gave him a tweaked motivation.
Yeah.
Because death is still there. It's just tweaked.
Have you seen anybody that didn't like this movie? I mean, like, other than because people died or their character
I've really
died
just seen it, just the people who are only watching the movies, they don't really know the books that well. Those are the only ones that I've seen upset.
Yeah, because the people who are not ready for it, I would think, or they're not familiar with how comic books work, I suppose. But everybody in the theater when I saw it everybody's just jaws hanging open, like, oh my
I
god.
had one person boo in the theater that I was in.
Yeah,
As soon as it was over, the dude just went boo, stood up, and walked out.
I would laugh.
that's amazing.
Did he not
laugh.
know that it was a to be continued?
That's amazing.
Half the
You know,
theater didn't
if you're
stay for the
not-
after credits.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention to the media surrounding this, I wouldn't have known that this was a two-parter. It's because I follow that stuff that I knew it was. I mean, it was originally, this was supposed to be Infinity War Part 1, and the second one was going to be Infinity War Part 2. But when they stopped using that, I was like, oh, so they're just going to do it in one. And
Yeah.
then when I saw it and I saw everything that happened, then I was like,
They can't do this in one.
okay,
Yeah.
so they're just going to call the other one something else.
Yeah.
We said they're spoilers. Come on, at least think about it. They're not going to keep Spider-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy dead because
No.
there's too much money to be made.
And Black Panther,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah, they just...
The list of the dead was astronomical.
Oh my god.
16 dead.
Oh lord.
All of the Guardians except for Rocket, Spider-Man, Black Panther.
Yep.
None of the original Avengers.
No,
you
that's
see that?
I was going to point that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none of the original.
None of
Oh
the-
my god.
All the people
It
Falcon.
circles back.
expected.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Falcon died.
Falcon,
Yeah,
Doctor
Falcon,
Strange.
Doctor Strange.
And Doctor Strange had that moment.
Scarlet Witch.
And Scarlet Witch, what I was very
But she
sad
was-
about.
yeah.
Vision.
But you figure now everybody was waiting for the Steve Rogers, Tony Stark
Right.
reunion. No, the confrontation reunion, whatever.
Yeah, they haven't
They're
seen each other
saving
yet.
it for the second part.
Oh,
now.
Right,
Definitely.
because it says here that that they're still split until they actually have to
But
come
everybody
together.
thought one or both of them was going to die.
And it looked like it was about to happen too,
Yeah.
because Thanos ripped Iron Man's arm off, ripped the armor off of Tony Stark's arm and stabbed him with it.
Yep.
So you thought, okay, that's it.
yeah,
Tony Stark is
huge
done.
talk
Oh, I'm
about
sure.
his-
That's okay. He's gone.
You know, there's huge talk about his death because he retired as an actor recently. So that's why there's huge talk about his death.
So
particularly.
Robert Downey Jr.
That's why there's huge talk about Iron Man
Yeah.
dying.
Well, that's the thing is it's common knowledge, quote unquote common knowledge that Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans both their contract is done. Chris Hemsworth's contract is done after the next.
Robert Downey Jr.'s contract's been up. He's been doing it movie by movie
Yeah.
for
Oh,
a
has he
couple of
been?
movies
Yeah.
now.
I did not know that.
His contract's been up since Iron Man 3.
Okay, but he's hanging in there for the fun of
So
it.
they're never sure. Okay, is he going to come back? Is
Yeah.
he not going to come back? They have to re-up with him every single time he refuses.
Oh, and
to
he's
do
got
it.
to be loving that.
Oh, God.
His bank account's
Okay.
got to be loving life
Okay.
right now.
For this movie, for the filming of this movie, he's like, I want you to get all of the furniture from my house, and I want you to bring it to Atlanta. And they said,
Okay. He has got to just be stretching the boundaries
Wow.
of the stories about brown M&Ms are all true when it comes to RDJ. He's just having fun with it at this point, I think. But that's
Wow.
but here's to his credit, he puts them through hoops and he makes them re-up his contract for every movie. But does he ever phone it in?
No.
Not a chance. This man is always all in. I love that
He
about him.
always has been. Except for when he was trying to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah,
But if
in
you
the early
watch
days of the
even his-
revival of his career.
But if you watch like his early stuff, even when he was playing stupid characters,
Mm-hmm.
he was still committing.
There was a character. He was in the sequel to The Fugitive, U.S. Marshal with Tommy Lee Jones, and I was like, no.
But
phoning.
I'm like going way back. I'm
That's
talking
way back,
about
though.
his
Yeah.
characters like from Weird Science.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
Back to School. They were awful characters, but he committed.
Yeah.
I recently had to show Monk him in Back to School. Just a clip of the idiot he played in Back to School.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
a little afraid.
You want to see a good example of how he would go full in on things, though? Less Than Zero.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a movie.
Chaplin
was a great movie. Yeah. Those are both amazing movies.
And that has the Bengals. That is my absolute favorite remake ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is. Let's see. Got some trivia here. Lots of trivia. 10 pages of trivia. Robert Downey Jr. had a separate deal from his Marvel Cinematic Universe co-stars where he signed on to reprise his role of Tony Stark, Iron Man, in subsequent Avengers films.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yep.
One thing I mentioned on the radio show I do, there was one song that wasn't just part of the score. They used Rubber Band Man by the Spinners for Guardians of the Galaxy, which was just amazing. Just to introduce them in that sense with the fun 70s tune. Here they are on their spaceship, and I just enjoy. I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think it's that's a great cast, and they've been some great stories. James Gunn said at one point it would have been nice if if the Russo brothers told him ahead of time what he was planning on doing to the Guardians, so that he could have been ready for that. Because now he's been writing the third Guardians movie, and he's like, well, I'm okay.
Yeah. Joss Whedon said the same thing. They didn't warn him about Civil War.
Okay.
He didn't know that they were going to blow up S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm doing a TV show about this, and you're destroying them. What happened?
Yeah. That would have been nice to kind of give me a heads up on that one.
But the whole comic book trope that they use, dating back to like Justice League and the Marvel, you send characters that don't normally interact with each other off together so that they have to do stuff to get Thor and Rocket.
Oh
my God,
awesome.
Dream Team!
Thor, Rocket, and Groot.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Tony Stark and Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Which I wonder if they did it on purpose so they'd have the two
Sherlocks.
Please, they didn't say it. And
Yeah, it didn't happen.
I know,
I was so looking forward to
it.
no shit Sherlock and then having them look at each other uncomfortably.
Oh my God. There's an actual part in one of the comics where Tony Stark is insisting that Doctor Strange call them the facial hair bros.
Yes, I have that issue at home. I have that one.
And then there's
awesome
an
facial hair brothers.
spot where they actually high five and Doctor Strange says it, and it's just like perfect. We need that.
And he does it so reluctantly. It's great because Tony's just holding his hand out. He's waiting for the high five, and Doctor Strange finally relents and high fives and goes, "Yes, fine, awesome facial hair bros." And Stark is like so happy, but under his breath, you see the shaky bubble sing. So he's making the comment under his breath. Doctor Strange says, "I hate you."
Exactly.
So I mean that was, and you're right, Billy. I mean it was great to see the mixed match. You don't see the Avengers together. You see a couple of Avengers and some friends, and then you see Tony Stark, Strange, Spider-Man, and then some of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Then you see Thor and Rocket and Groot together. And let me tell you, Tyrion Lannister cameo as the shortest big guy in the freaking movie.
That was awesome.
I love Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage's character was
love
freaking
Peter
awesome.
Dinklage.
And did you see it? Did you catch the Game of Thrones reference when he tells Thor you're going to have to hold the door?
Yes.
And so all of the Hodor fans, and you could hear all the Game of Thrones fans in the theaters. They're like, "Oh!" as he makes a Hodor reference.
Okay, I didn't get this quick enough, but when you were talking about breaking them up and putting them in different places, this is something that Chris and I were talking about on the way here. And it says, in a New York Times interview, when asked about how the script was written to accommodate the large cast, co-writer Stephen McFeely said, "Not every scene can be 25 people in a room. You're going to have to make kickball teams and then have a tournament." So Chris and I have a theory that that's how they decided who was going to die.
Okay.
Was
the actual kickball tournament.
It was a kickball tournament, and the teams who lost, they were the ones who died.
That's
our theory.
That sucks.
And we're sticking with
That's
it.
a cool theory, though.
now
Canon accepted.
now. So let's go for the tear jerking moments where Tom Holland channeled his inner David Tennant.
Let's do this a little bit in order.
No.
Come on.
No, we'll jump right to him.
You cannot
But
skip
Sherry,
my Loki.
But
You
Sherry, I
cannot
don't want to
skip
go.
my Loki.
Sherry, I don't want to go. I don't want to go, Sherry.
He
Don't
was
go
actually
there
told
with
to
me.
say that.
Don't go there with me.
That was semi
Improv.
Improv.
Yeah.
He was just told to act like he doesn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, so he channeled his inner David Tennant.
And now people are like, it's because of his spider senses. He felt it.
He felt, yeah. I saw that essay.
He could feel everything coming.
He knew what was happening.
Stark saw it, but he actually felt it.
It said this was the first one where he actually kind of had and listened to his spidey senses.
Yeah.
And then you saw the hair.
You saw that when he was on the school bus.
Yep.
But yeah, so we can go circling all the way back to poor Loki. Getting his head virtually snapped off.
That Loki could ever come back, or
well, Thor said it himself.
No,
my brother's been dead before.
But Thanos also threw the body aside and said, "No resurrections this time."
Yeah, and I mean,
Heimdall.
Yeah. And though you didn't see it, Valkyrie was there. She did not survive that.
James Gunn has said she did survive off scene. One of the Russo brothers said.
I was going to say, how would James Gunn know?
I keep forgetting who's directing which ones. But the Russo brothers said that she's one of the ones who survived off screen.
How? Okay. How did she survive off screen?
She was not one of the half of the Asgardians that got killed.
But they then blew up the ship. So all the Asgardians, other than
ships, have escape pods. Sherry, ships have escape pods. Just saying.
Could be. I don't know.
I'm saying I want Valkyrie to be dead, but I'm just saying that. But that broke my heart right from the beginning. Heimdall and Loki.
Heimdall's move to bridge Hulk back to Earth instead of Thor, is that the key that saves the whole thing? Because he sent Banner back instead of Thor. You'd think that an Asgardian would think of the ultimate Asgardian to send out and save. Instead, he saves Banner. So how does is that a key? Is that was that a conscious move, or was that just how it was written? But why would Heimdall pick a quote unquote mere mortal rather than his king?
I don't know.
Maybe he knew something that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he knew that Thor needed to go and learn, and
he had to walk a different path.
Maybe it's that his way of seeing. He saw the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the only way to bring them in because at that point Banner wasn't Banner. Banner was Hulk. Would Hulk have been the person to be able to bridge between this entire other group that they needed their help?
Yeah.
No, it had to be Thor.
And Hulk got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in the MCU you see Hulk lose.
Which is why he plays a baby the whole rest
And then he becomes a whiny bitch the entire time. He doesn't want to come out to play anymore. Because poor Hulk got his ass kicked. He didn't want to come back out and play anymore.
And Banner's trying his hardest to say, I need the big guy back out here. And he's like,
Yeah, but it was so funny to see how much fun Bruce Banner was having in the Hulkbuster armor.
That was fun.
The one that was against him initially.
Yes, he was just having such a riot in there.
He's like,
this is great.
And then he falls.
Yeah.
Okay, so
who was our favorite kickball team?
And then the next one was Gamora.
Gamora, that one.
Oh, that hurt.
That hurt. That hurt everybody, including Thanos.
It did.
It did.
He was crying when he threw her over the cliff.
But
he actually
the only one that didn't get it was Gamora.
Yeah.
She didn't realize until like right before.
As soon as she showed up,
he did not love her. But I think that's what her whole thing was.
Yeah.
You could not love me for everything you've put me through.
Yeah.
But everybody else knew.
And the Red Skull cameo in that scene, the Soul Stone.
Awesome.
That was
Oh my God. I would have thought it was more awesome if they had actually
Hugo Weaving
gotten Hugo Weaving. Because at first I'm like, is that Red Skull? I don't. It's
yeah,
not
the
Hugo
voice
Weaving.
was almost uncanny.
Is it Red? I wasn't sure if it was him or not.
It was not Hugo Weaving, but it was
Red Skull.
The guy who played it did a damn good job of making you think it was Hugo Weaving for most of that movie scene. I'll tell you that one. I thought it was him, and then all of a sudden there was like a lilt in his voice towards the end of the scene. I'm like, oh wait, and then the next day I saw that it was Doug Jones, I think, who played Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies.
Yep.
So, or somebody else entirely.
I'm on time.com and I'm looking at the Gamora death, and the thing says, "Don't mourn yet, though. If Avengers find a way to reverse all that Thanos has done, they might be able to bring Gamora back. And who better to finally kill the villain in the end?"
Well, yeah, there's that.
Well, and here's the thing with the Soul Stone. Part of the Soul Stone is it captures and holds in everybody's soul that it actually kills.
Right.
So
half the universe is now packed into that stone.
In that
But
stone.
because of that, Gamora, Heimdall, Loki, not in the Soul Stone.
Do you think there's
No,
something?
Gamora is because she was
She
the
was killed at
sacrifice
the
in order to
sacrifice.
get the soul stone.
But
That's the
I
only. That's a
wonder-
loophole.
But I'm not sure. That's the thing.
Right.
No, it
that
is.
could go either way because he actually physically killed her before he had possession
But
of the
he
soul
killed
stone.
her to get possession of the stone. It's a soul for a soul, and the soul goes into
That
the
one's gonna-
stone
that-
for it's needed.
And then here's the theory that Andy Mertzke and I were talking about is that if they restore the universe, it'll most likely be everybody who was killed by the Soul Stone. So that means no Loki, no Heimdall.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
the other
does the
Asgardians.
Time Stone come into play? Are they going to pull
I
it?
would,
I'm sure.
I would say that has to.
A Superman going around the world in reverse.
I would say
type
that
of
has
thing.
to have something to do with it. And absolutely would probably have the Time Stone is going to have something to do with it. And the Time and Soul Stone are going to be the two big ins to be the part of the solution.
Now, at one point, when Doctor Strange was going through the 14 million
Yeah.
combinations of what would happen, do you think he let Star-Lord do what he did to get to that one?
Because it was
Probably.
the only way.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, because you saw, and the more you armchair quarterback it and take a look at it, you could almost see that Strange was making. He wasn't really trying to stop Star-Lord when Star-Lord was putting the 2+2 together that Thanos had killed Gamora. And when Peter is about ready to start lose his shit and go after Thanos, you see it in a brief instant. You see Strange almost stop trying to stop him. Almost like back off. And then the fact that he makes the bargain with Thanos that if you spare Stark, I'll give you the Time Stone. And it's like, wait, what's your play there? You hate Stark. Why are you going to save his ass? So that's telling me that Strange in that one path that he sees that Stark and probably the original six Avengers are going to be instrumental in bringing this all back together again.
Well, aren't there 6 Infinity Stones?
Well,
And
you
the
can go ahead and make that correlation. Yeah, 6 original Avengers, 6 Infinity
that were
Stones.
actually in the logo for the Friends TV show.
They were there.
They've been
okay.
hiding in the Friends
Okay, so
opening.
we're assuming Hawkeye's still alive, that he made the 50%.
He is.
Yes.
He is on home arrest. That's
But that
was
doesn't mean
explained
that
away.
doesn't
Him and
necessarily
Ant-Man
mean-
were explained away as not being there because they're on home arrest.
Yeah, but
but
it doesn't
they-
necessarily mean they lived.
Well,
You
true.
don't know, and
That's
like
true.
the
If
same
they
thing with
killed
Shuri.
my
It's just
Hawkeye,
like
I'm gonna
we
have
don't
to
know
do
if she
something.
lived.
Okay, here's something. They faked us out. Tanya? They faked
They
us out.
totally faked
Do
us
you
out
remember
because
when
there
we were
was
talking about
all
this and you were
those-
like, and we were like, and you looked it up.
He was on the.
He was on the list as being in Infinity War. He was
Well,
on the
technically-
list, and he's
techni-
no longer there.
Technically, he was in the list, but he was referenced.
Yes, but he was listed as acting in it. He was in the cast
Cast.
list. You looked it up. So they totally faked us out with that.
And we know
Not on the
Ant-Man
list
lives.
anymore.
Yeah.
We know Ant-Man lives because his movie's coming out in a couple
Right.
of months.
Right.
Now, are they going to have to reference half of the world being
Well, it
dead?
depends on
and
when this
Ant-Man and
Ant-Man
Wasp?
Wasp
I think
happens.
it
Does
is
it happen
pre-Infinity War?
Yeah,
It's just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was the last couple episodes were happening like right when Thanos had gotten his hands on the gauntlet.
And,
So
also, did you realize that the two Guardians of the Galaxy movies are
they're in the same year.
They're in the same year, 4 years previous to this.
Mm-hmm.
So their timelines are not.
yeah, they're weird.
I mean, Black Panther takes place like almost directly after
Civil War.
Civil War. It's
And
like
then-
within like a week or two of Civil War.
As
And-
does Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
So it's kind of like
And
the
then-
timeline's kind of cramped up in there.
Yeah.
And
It's-
this
You just
one
need to pay
is,
attention to it to
and
figure
this
out what
one's
goes
happening
Yeah.
like right
agree.
after Black Panther. It was like not too long after the
Because
Black Panther.
Bucky is still in Wakanda.
Right.
Yeah, and they've already mentioned opening up the borders at that point. Mm-hmm. So they mentioned that in
I thought it was
Infinity.
going. I thought you meant a Starbucks.
How do you pronounce that general's name? Oyoki?
Okoye.
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 What a fantastic supporting character she
oh my
is.
god, Okoye is awesome.
She is amazing.
On an entirely different movie, have you seen any of the deleted scenes from Black Panther
No,
that have been out?
I haven't yet.
You need to.
Okay.
There is
Okay.
an amazing scene between Okoye and what's his name, her husband.
yeah.
M'Baku.
No,
No, that's
no,
Gorilla
that's
guy.
not-
I know who you're talking about.
But this explains
The Rhino guy.
The Rhino guy. Yeah.
It explains why he turned against T'Challa.
Oh.
It's a great scene.
Sherry showed it to me, and I said, "Why in the hell would they take that out of the movie?"
Yeah. Okay.
Because it
One of those scenes that make everything else make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it makes no sense to take it out.
Okay.
It's not even that long of a scene, and it shows his entire motivation.
You know,
Plus,
you
I didn't
can
realize that
glean
they were
it
married.
if you pay attention.
Yeah, no, did not realize
if you're
they were
very
married.
much paying attention to the movie, you can figure all that out.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, this says it right out.
Yeah.
Hello, here we are. You
It's
know, big,
basically-
bright,
Yep.
freaking skywriting. You know,
Interesting.
Basically, he says he promised he would bring him back for justice. He didn't say he was going to bring him to the CIA. He didn't say he was going to bring him somewhere else. He said he was going to bring him back. I have been waiting for justice. He lied.
for
I'm
20
done
years,
with
he
him.
said. Yeah, for 20
I'm
years.
done with him.
Okay.
So, is it a great reason? Maybe not, but at least it was a reason, and that was something that always bothered me.
I think they tried to intimate that, and so that's why they cut the scene for just a couple seconds extra of time. But I would agree that would probably be a good one to keep.
Yeah,
in.
Yeah.
you know, if you pay attention, you can glean that that's what was going on.
Uh-huh.
But this says it,
Okay.
and you know you can get the relationship, but you may not realize. You know, it looks like they're just intimate in the movie.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily realize
They're actually married. Yeah.
I mean, she even
See,
says,
that's news to me.
she's like, this is the world you want me. Basically, he wants her to quit the Guard so that they can start a family.
Mm.
This is the world you want me to bring children into.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really an intense scene, and her acting is amazing. In
Well,
the scene.
has Marvel done a bad job of casting any of their movies?
Yes.
Tell me which one.
Ben Kingsley is.
Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin.
Yeah.
I think that was a terrible characterization to begin with.
Yeah.
I think he would have been
Such a
amazing
waste.
as the Mandarin if they'd given him the right Mandarin.
Yeah, such a waste of a character. I was never
but
really.
it does show his versatility.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
it
does.
does.
He can play Gandhi and he can play like a surfer dude. That's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So
I really, as much as I like her, I really didn't like the casting of Jane Foster.
Okay.
I thought that was
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman was
She's a
miscast
bit
in
weak.
that, and I never was really fond of Betty Ross's casting with Liv Tyler.
And you and I have talked about that off camera.
and you know
on
what?
that
It's
occasion.
I don't think it's necessarily the casting. I think it's the writing.
yeah,
Probably.
They've
Because they
destroyed
had
those
two
characters.
people like that can play.
Would you
that
go
can
back?
act.
Would you go back and make a solo Hulk movie at some
Again?
point? I try again.
Another one.
Another
Without
Hulk
the
movie?
origin, we know the origin, gamma rays, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Make a Hulk
Because
movie.
that one is that is canon within this world.
The one with Ed Norton?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Ed Norton one is.
Is part of the MCU.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the second of the Avengers.
Yeah,
movies.
because Betty Ross's father
Thunderbolt. Yeah.
was in Infinity War.
Right.
He was
Yeah, and
Yes,
Civil
he
War.
was.
Civil War. He was also in Infinity War. He had a
Yes.
cameo.
right.
You know.
And I had a theory about why they've never brought Liv Tyler back. I had on our way here.
She was stuck in Middle Earth.
My theory is that despite the fact that Mark Ruffalo and Ed Norton are not that dissimilar in age, Ed Norton looks so freaking young. He looks like he is the same age as Liv Tyler. Mark Ruffalo does not. They're supposed to be high school sweetheart, college sweethearts.
Oh, I
They're
see.
supposed to be the
Okay.
same age, and I just they went. That's not going to work.
I see.
looks old enough to be her
watch,
father.
just to watch the interaction between Betty, Natasha, and Bruce. That would be entertaining for me. Just to see that. I want to see Natasha look at Betty and go no, and just kill her like right there and be on. Just kill her and be done with it. Black Widow looks at Betty Ross and goes no.
There's
Anyway,
red in my ledger.
there is. I don't have enough anymore. Here, come here, Betty. All right, so
I'm hopping back over to the deaths and possibly who had lived. And so they had Pepper Potts and Captain Marvel and things like that. They do have a Hawkeye Clint Barton. It says he was conspicuously missing from Avengers Infinity War. The stay-at-home dad apparently told the rest of the Avengers that fighting Thanos was just too risky. But maybe if Hawkeye survived, he'll want to join his old buddies to avenge the members of his family who died.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's gonna be a knife in the gut of every fan.
So-
I've been thinking that's Hawkeye's motivation.
Hawkeye coming back because
They killed his wife and kids.
that he
That-
survived,
that-
but they didn't, and that's what's going to bring him back.
And
into
I'm
the fold.
going to take another twist for the deep Marvel comic book fans out there. I think that's going to be his motivation. I think the wife and the kids, or at least wife and and some
One
of the
kid.
kids, or one kid might have been taken out by Thanos. And then you're going to see not Hawkeye, you're going to see Ronan, which is Clint Barton when he goes off the reservation and decides he just wants to take everybody out in front of him. There's this whole stretch of time where Hawkeye says, "I'm not Hawkeye anymore. I'm this guy. I'm going to be Ronin," and he goes off and he goes John Wick on people.
And it would definitely fit in with what they have done in the past, because if you look at Captain America, his costume.
He's gone almost
That's
nomad.
nomad.
Yeah.
And then the scruffy beard was from another time that he quit being Captain America.
Yep.
So they've brought that before.
Yeah.
I mean, they've shown that they're very willing to bring in aspects of
the alter egos, as it were.
And referring to the Winter Soldier as the White Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which isn't actually the Winter Soldier,
No,
but it is
that's a different
another
character. Yeah.
But they are willing to do that. That would be neat.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you're going to see the original 6 put back together again, slightly damaged, slightly beaten, slightly demoralized.
Seriously damaged.
with a Carol Danvers kicker. And I cannot tell you how excited I am about this because Captain Marvel's been one of my favorite characters for a while now. So that tag scene at the end where Nick Fury has enough sense while he's disintegrating to page Captain Marvel is like, holy shit, now it's going to get serious.
I love that opens up the way for the new Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Kamala Khan.
They're actually talking about that. There is, it's like in pre-production. But
so she would be like phase 5 kind of a thing.
Yeah, but Ms. Marvel, who I adore.
I think it's a great character.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, Jules has most of those, and I've read them over her shoulder.
I wonder how they're going to handle the whole Inhuman thing. Because they haven't done well with that so far.
Yeah, because I think they forced their hands on the Inhuman TV series. But I think if they weave it in. But I think what's going to happen is that people have been saying Avengers 4, the untitled one, which I'm going to say right now is Avengers Forever, because that's off of a comic book series. Anyway, but the next Avengers movie, where they rectify it, is going to be a reboot of the entire MCU. You're going to see something happen in the restoration of the universe that is going to change everything, and that's going to open up the door to bring back the Fantastic Four, to bring back the X-Men, to bring back a whole bunch of these extra characters that they haven't been able to tinker with because of contractual stupidity. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see Phase 4, Phase 5, Phase 6 of the future of the MCU is going to split off into all these different directions.
Will it allow for recasting?
I think it's going to allow for some recasting.
Of characters. No, like maybe Chris Evans doesn't want to play Captain America anymore.
Or maybe they can make cameos once in a while as their former selves. Tony Stark can come back and be like, a quick cameo in the background while he's advising Riri Williams.
Yeah.
And maybe
Ironheart.
they could have Captain and Human Torch talk to each other.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I think that'd be hilarious.
Oh my god! Did I ever show you that? There's
a picture of Deadpool.
No, there's a thing floating around where it's Black Panther, Cap, Black Widow standing next to each other, and she goes, "Cap, say the words," and like it's just like what? And then you see Captain America go, "Flame on," and he's in flames, and it's hysterical.
Oh, see the things that we can get ourselves into. Anyway, we're gonna talk this one to death. We're gonna keep chatting about it. We're gonna chat about it more. Go ahead, share real quick.
Before we leave, leave off of this, do you want to quick do the records that Infinity War? There's a few records that Infinity War.
Fire off a couple of the records for me.
Biggest opening weekend collection for any film in the U.S.
Yes.
250 million.
Yes.
Didn't it go almost $1 billion globally?
Okay. Biggest opening weekend collection for any film worldwide, which was 630 million.
Opening weekend.
For opening weekend.
Jesus.
Biggest superhero film opening in the U.S. and worldwide. Of course, that's kind of redundant. Fastest film to reach $1 billion mark worldwide.
11
days.
It makes all the money they spent on marketing makes sense all of a sudden, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
Can we get their marketing people?
I would love to have their marketing people. Holy crap.
And can they bring their budget?
Yeah.
We just have to get bought by Disney, and then we're good.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I think Dan would be okay with that.
Dan would be okay if we got bought by Disney. I think that'd be a thing.
Oh, Lord, the Empire.
Oh, God.
All right, so we're going to talk about this behind the scenes, off camera, on camera. We're going to talk about it more at FC3 itself at the MCU panel. So look for that on the schedule, and we'll talk more about it then. And then we're looking forward to seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp. And is there any other Marvel movies this year?
Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
Deadpool 2 coming up.
Which will come out
Deadpool 2.
In 2 days.
Yes, something like that. So lots of
excited
good
about
stuff
that
to be
one.
done. Lots of
So
good stuff to look forward to.
So Thanos is fighting Deadpool.
Yes, pump the hate brakes, Thanos. You're so dark. You must be from the DCU. Anyway. All right. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we got a couple of pieces of business to finish off, and then we're off for the day.
Chris is conducting an orchestra over here.
In my own mind.
Yes.
Strangely enough, half of us are gone.
That's why you didn't get any birthday
Monk
presents.
snapped her fingers, and half the table just disappeared.
Why me? What did I do?
Because you're sitting in the right chair for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of looking forward to next May because it needs to be fixed. This movie needs to be fixed.
Ay,
was so good, though.
It was good. I have to see it again.
Yeah, I do too.
It hurt me.
It hurt me deep.
We had to take her for ice cream.
Actually, I still remember, and I only saw it a week ago, but as I was leaving, it was a Monday afternoon, like 30 people, and there was like a row of 5, 6, like teenage boys. Mm-hmm. And as we're leaving, can't believe a whole row of high school boys are crying.
I have to say, it's going to sound mean for me to say it this way, but one of my favorite stories is my poor beloved 16-year-old daughter, who is a huge Tom Holland fan. Like, she's crushing on Tom Holland big time, and the entire time, Spider-Man better survive. Spider-Man better survive. So it's going through the finger snap scene, and you're watching all of these heroes fading away. You're watching people just fade away and become dust in the wind, and she's like, she's sitting next to me. She's like, no, it hasn't even gotten back to Titan yet. She's like, no, because you can almost, her spider sense is starting to kick in, like something is going horribly wrong and she's not going to like this. And then she grabs my upper arm. She's on my left. She grabs my arm and just starts squeezing. She's like, no. She keeps saying it under her breath. No. And it goes back, and there's poor Peter Parker. Mr. Stark, I don't feel it. And then he goes into that whole David Tennant channeling. I don't want to go. And he starts to face. She screams, no, right? And there's like, oh yeah, honey. People behind her are like, oh God, yeah, honey. There's a whole row of people behind her sympathizing with her immediately, and she's grabbing my arm and she's beating on my arm, and I'm just
You still have bruises?
I'm squealing in pain because this child is not letting. She's not holding back, and then. And it starts to fade to quiet, and everybody's holding their breath because Peter Parker has just disappeared into the ether, and there's Tony Stark just kind of like standing there, just awestruck, his eyes, his jaw hanging open, his eyes just like stunned. And then you hear my poor little daughter, I'm sorry, Spreaker button time. She goes, I hate this fucking movie. and she says it out loud, and everybody around her's cracking up at this point. And she's like, she goes, I hate. And then, no, quietly, I hate this fucking movie. I hate this fucking movie. The tears are streaming down her face. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's just a story. He's going to come back. He's got a whole sequel coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to frantically reassure her while the movie is still going on.
Either that or Miles Morales make way.
Oh, that's it. Ultimate Spider-Man coming in.
Let's take a moment to think about the fact that now Tony Stark is stuck on Titan with Nebula.
Oh my God, what a combination that is.
They'll kill each other.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You mentioned Miles Morales, Billy. This might be the thing where he steps up because Spider-Man has disappeared in this culling of the herd. This is a great chance for Miles to come up, to stand up and say, well, I want to be like Spider-Man. And be the thing, and then Peter Parker's restored, and then you have the two Spider-Man universe like we have in the comic books right now, which I think would be amazing. That'd be a great way to introduce that character.
One of my favorite memes, I'm not sure which of you would be familiar with this, but do you know the Batman 66 movie that came out back in when the TV show was popular, had all four villains, Joker, Penguin, Catwoman,
and
Riddler. At the end where they had the dehydrator thing where everybody got turned in. Did you see the meme that has Batman trying to put the Avengers back together?
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did see that meme but I didn't make any
because
sense
it's the
to me.
movie. The whole United Nations winds up dehydrated and a pile of dust. So it's up to Batman to put.
No, can I tell you, I am mad at Cashman.
Why?
Why are you mad at Cashman?
That Spider-Man.
My
starter pack.
Oh, okay. My friend Cashman Rich Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
He showed me the meme of the Spider-Man starter pack. It's all dust.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the guy that was
no.
downstairs in the lobby?
Yes.
Yeah, we chatted with him.
Oh my God, that was just wrong.
He showed that
I'm-
to us too. He showed that to us too.
Oh, I'm like, it's horrible. But we've got
funny.
a major event coming up.
We do have a major event
Yes.
coming up June 9th and 10th, starting on June 8th, Friday evening with the launch
Yes.
party. We are going to be having the Flower City Comic-Con 2018 at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Tickets are available in several locations. If you've been following the podcast, you've heard the list. I'm not going through it today.
First Print Comics.
First Print Comics, 13th Verse Comics, Blades for Life at Puff Palace, End Zone Collectibles, Rhinos Comics and Collectibles, Comic Book Heaven, All Heroes Comics. Isn't that the shop you go to?
Yeah, I go to Rhinos and All Heroes. In fact, I'm wearing an All Heroes Avengers
are.
shirt right
Very
now.
cool.
They are.
Comic Etc., Yankee Clipper, House of Cards, Hammer Girl Anime, and Wonderland Comics. You see how Tanya managed to get me to do that list even though I
Yes,
didn't want
I
to?
did.
Yep.
You pain in my ass.
Yep.
And tickets are also available online through our website. So, and they will be available at the door.
With the box office goddess.
With the
Sybil.
box office goddess sitting right next to me, beloved Sybil.
Hi.
Hello.
She's still in shock from all the character deaths in
Yes.
Avengers.
It made me cry.
Which was the one you didn't expect?
None of them. Well, Black Panther is one I did not expect to see. When that happened, I was just like, "What the? Oh no!"
Yeah.
And
They
then Spider-Man
tried to
went,
kill him in Black Panther, and now they're killing him again.
And now there's a meme circulating around where there's Killmonger going, if I just waited for Infinity War.
I've seen that.
All right. So that's that. That's Monkey Business for another week. We're all going to go home now and cry and drink heavily and, you know.
I
And,
have to drive home first.
Oh, you have to drive home first.
4.5 hour
Have a safe drive home, baby. Give me a text when you get home. Let me know
do.
you got there okay. All right. And this has been Monkey Business, a
Yes, it
product
has.
of the Mighty Monkey Corporation. Producers of the Flower City Comic Con, which we just talked about a moment ago, coming at you. Like us on Facebook, love us on Facebook, support us on Patreon, and we will see you all guys very, very soon. Next week, it's a thing that's going to happen. And are you putting together your own Infinity Gauntlet over there?
Yes, he is.
Is that what, with his
It's a crown from the Dilly Dilly.
with the bar crawl.
crawl.
Yeah, okay. So that's a thing. But
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
You have to go.
I have to go.
We have to go. Billy needs to go home.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go.